Hola, welcome, Bem-vindo to Yarn Stories with Olivia, my little channel here on YouTube where I talk about my knitting and my crochet and my love of all things yarn. Today is Saturday, September 28th. It is a beautiful early fall day here, or I should say early autumn day here in the south coast of Massachusetts. And it's a little later in the afternoon than I planned to record. So if you'll see the shadows, that's what's going on my window here. And I've got a large tree in my front lawn that is beautiful to look at from inside, but it does give me a little bit of this shade effect. So that's what that is. That's the tree outside. So today we're going to talk about some of my finished objects. I've got four to show you. No, 4 knit objects that are finished and 1 crochet. So that's 5 finished objects to show you, 4 of which will be new. Haven't shown them on the podcast before. And 1 that has been shown, but now, well, actually, let me correct myself. 2 that you've seen before that I'm going to be showing here on the podcast. And 1 whip that I've shown before, hasn't had much progress, but I'm going to, of course, tell you the story as to why there hasn't been progress on it, and a new work in progress that I am just getting really attached to, and it's my latest obsession and will probably be done soon. So let's start with the administrative things, shall we? So you can find me on Instagram as Olivia30M and on Ravelry as Olivia30. I am pretty active on both. Instagram obviously is where I post on, if not on a daily basis, almost definitely on a weekly basis, I'm posting something there. On Ravelry is where I post all of my finished projects. I do put notes on my progress of an item. So anything that I talk about today, if I miss it in the show notes, you'll be able to find it on Ravelry if Ravelry is accessible to you. If not, feel free to send me a message and I would be happy to respond back. Speaking of which, if you like these videos, please consider liking and subscribing and leaving me a message. I really do enjoy the message component, or the comments component, I should say, of these videos and interacting with you. It lets me know that you've watched, lets me know that I'm just not talking into my phone. And yeah, and sometimes I forget to put a prompt or a question for something that somebody can ask me. So I'll leave it up to you. If there's a question you have for me about anything that I talk about, or anything that might interest you as we're going through this episode that I might not have answered, please feel free to comment below. And yeah, thank you for being here with me. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for being here with me as I've sort of the last couple of episodes turned this into a travel channel. None of that's going to be happening now. I'm done traveling for a little while, so none of that for now. But thank you for being there on the other side. I hadn't planned for this to be a travel vlog by any chance, but it sort of fell into place since so much of my travel is tied into my knitting time. For those of you that are new, just a very quick bio of me. I am a librarian, and as I said, I live on the south coast of Massachusetts, but I was born in Portugal, and so there may be a word here or there that I'll be popping into the screen if I get stumped on how to say it. Also because some of what I'm going to show today does have a Portugal component. So let's start, shall we? So we will start with, should I say it? The elephant in the room? No, it's an elephant in the room. It is my most current finished object, and one that I am totally in love with, and I'm so glad I did this top. This is and I'll be putting a little video on here of this top as I talk about it, and some photos, so that I don't stand up and change the chair around. This top is the A Little Romance by Laura Aylor, also known as Fogbound Knits on Ravelry. It is a super easy pattern. It knit itself. It really did. It knit itself. I used Barocco Remix Light in the black and the gray for it. I've used Remix before. I love this yarn for its lightness. And because it's a garment that is good to wear in early autumn or late spring or even cool summer evenings, it's the fabric is very comfortable because it is a remix blend of different yarns, including cotton, without being overly cottony, I should say. So in my last episode, I talked a little bit about this one. And it was meant to be worked on while I was on vacation. I cast it on there in the island of San Miguel in the Azores. My plan had been to knit the whole garment there and to do the photo shoot of the garment at the iconic Portage de Ciudad in downtown Ponta Delgada, which I'll put a photo here of what I'm talking about, but I'm going to show you my little miniature version of what I'm talking about. I have a little souvenir that I picked up to bring with me since I knew I wasn't going to finish this top there. So this is what I'm talking about, the Portage de Ciudad, and you would have seen from the photos of us as a family. Everybody that visits the island of San Miguel tends to snap a photo in this plaza, in this plaza, where there's festivals and concerts and beer tastings. So here's my little miniature Portage de Ciudad. If I put it here, it's sort of like, right? But as you can see from the colors, it's got the black and the gray, and that's why I did it in these colors. And I didn't get to finish it there because I didn't pack properly. I did pack the black and only one skein of the gray, which was the skein that I was using to make the project. So the other two that I was supposed to take with me got left behind. So on vacation, I was able to do it up to the sleeve separation and then had to put it away. I did manage to take it sightseeing with me in the first few days that I was on vacation, but it got packed away until I got back home. I did finish it about a week ago. I blocked it, finally wore it, and yesterday I finally decided that I needed to do a photo shoot with it so that I could have it here for the podcast. There is the city next to us, the sister city to to the island of San Miguel's, or sister city, that's an island, but anyway, there is a replica of the Portage in the city of Fall River, and I had planned to go there to take photos there, but it wasn't going to be the same. It just has to be there. So what I'm going to do is the next time I go on vacation, which in a couple of years, we'll probably go back again, I will take it with me and take some photos there. However, I love this top so much. Like I said, it's A Little Romance by Laura Aylor, Fogbound Knits. She is having a Cowl right now. You can find this on Ravelry from August 30th to August 1st to October 31st. Yes. She is having a Cowl where if you knit one of her patterns and you post the finished item to on Ravelry on her FO thread, you can select one of her patterns as a gift. And so I will be finishing up this post on Ravelry soon and going through her catalog and seeing what I already don't have from her patterns and picking up another one. It's very generous of her that if you knit one of her patterns, she is going to gift you with another one. So go and check her out, Laura Aylor, Fogbound Knits on Ravelry. And I've liked it so much that I'm going to be casting on another soon, which I will be talking about under future knitting or the on order section of this podcast. Because, you know, the library structure is a part of this podcast. Did I tell you that that's what I do? That I'm a librarian? I can't remember if I said that in the beginning. Well, if I did, I'm repeating myself. If I didn't, you'll know why there's going to be a little bit of librarianese thrown on in here in this episode. So let's start with, so this was the finished project that I am very happy with. The next one that I finished that you saw the yarn when I showed it to you in the last podcast, and I finished it when I got back home, and pardon me as I grab my podcast basket where I put my finished projects for talking about on the episode. Actually, I'll talk about this one first because this one is going to be quick. This one is the Litmus Cowl that you've seen a couple of times on the podcast. Has actually made an appearance on my first episode. It is finished. It was worked on the vacation. It was a 3 out of 3. It was a Kitchener stitch. I was gonna say 3 needle bind off. It was a Kitchener stitch bind off, which I was pretty impressed that I did it so evenly and from memory. Usually I have to refer to my little chart on how to do it. It's been blocked, all set, ready to go. It's been put into the gift box, and I don't know if I should put it in. So I'm not going, I mean, the yarn and all that, I've talked about this on other episodes. It's Craft House Magic minis with a skein of junk yarn. Jeanette is the type of yarn. It's junk yarn boss sock, and Jeanette is the colorway, which is this gray. And then the minis, and it is going to go into, actually, oh, look, maybe I'm going to take it out of the gift box. I'm going to keep it. It does go well with my sweater, doesn't it? It is in my gift box. This is the second one I've made. I have gifted one already. Yeah, so maybe I'm going to have to rethink this one. I might have to keep this for me. So Litmus Cowl, great pattern for quick knitting in the round. This was knit in the back seat of the car as we traveled throughout the island. No dropped stitches. I had done some of it too on the airplane. Great project, great gift, finished. You won't be seeing this one again unless I make another one in different colors, because I do like this project for easy knitting, and just as a project that you can take with you wherever you're headed. So that was the finished one. The one that I was going to start talking about, which you would have seen the yarn on this one, and it was the cake of yarn that I told you I bought at the yarn shop in Ponta Delgada. The yarn was the Mondial Emission, and with it I decided to just make a I just needed something as a Zoom scarf, sort of, to keep me while I attend these meetings. And since the cowl was done, this is what I did with it. So here it is. Here is the finished project with the Mondial yarn. I just made a very simple, and it's creased because it's folded, very simple boomerang shawl. It is the Handspun boomerang shawl on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. Yeah, pretty sure that's what it is. It's the Handspun boomerang shawl by Natasha Sills on Ravelry. I think I got that. I'm reading my sticky note so I don't forget. Because, you know, things get lost in the database up here sometimes. So it's just, it had a lot more black than gray in this cake, but it worked out. It's like, as I said, it was a simple knit for me. Ooh, you know, I haven't really touched it since I washed it and blocked it and put it in the basket. But look at that. I think everything I'm going to show you today is sort of going to complement my outfit, isn't it? Which, in my earrings too, my Portuguese earrings with my little lava ball in there. I love these earrings. And yeah, look at that. That works out nicely, doesn't it? This one has had a photo shoot, but just on the table. I may have to go out there today and do another one. I'm supposed to go out for dinner tonight, so maybe this is going to be my outfit tonight. What do you think? Is it looking good? Let me just, I don't know if I should push back or stand up a little bit, but yeah, this is looking really nicely. Okay, so I am happy with it. I wasn't sure. I wasn't a fan of the yarn, I have to be honest. I did talk a little bit about it in the last episode about how it's an Italian yarn, and I bought it in support of the shop, but it wasn't one that I would have been drawn to for my yarn collection, because yes, I do have a yarn collection. I do consider myself a curator of yarn. Anyway, I did, it was a little bit splitty at times, so I didn't I have to be a little bit more careful with it than I was with using the merino yarn in the Litmus Cowl. So there we go. Finished object number 3. So pretty good. I got a little accomplished. So those, yeah, those were the knit projects that I've got finished. The other knit project that I've got knit projects to show you, but I want to show you the crochet project because it's in the basket. So the crochet project that I finished, that is also new for here, and let me just get my, and it's not it's not gray, it's not black. So this is not going to be an all gray episode. This one is in a beautiful cranberry fall color. This is Ella Ray. It is Ella Ray Marmel yarn. I've got the price on here so you'll see how much it cost me for this skein. It cost me $18 for this ball. And it is a cotton blend yarn. It is a very simple free pattern shawl or shawl. Let me say it in Portuguese, a shawl. All it's an all. I do, shawl makes more sense to me than shawl. So this shawl is an easy crochet, crocheted with a J hook, and it is called the Madeline Triangle Scarf by Courtney Stowe. It is a free pattern on Mowry, and I believe from her picture here, it was mandala yarn that she used for her sample there. And I had made it before with a mandala yarn for a scarf for my fundraising craft shows, but it was the first time I've used this yarn, and it did take a little bit of time, I have to admit. This is the same yarn that I used for my peacock shawl, which is May I Borrow This Please pattern. I think I made it in June. It's on my Ravelry page, and that was just a knit. So the yarn handled itself differently in knitting than it does from crochet. And crochet does split a little bit, and some of the stitches were, sometimes it was kind of hard to see where to put in your stitch. So I have to admit that this had to be done when I had good lighting, and I did do it, was outdoors. Earlier in the episode, I said how the weather's been great up here in the south coast, not south coast of Massachusetts, but down towards the south, towards like Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. All of those states have been very affected by Hurricane Helene. We've been having this beautiful summer weather up here. We're a big country, so the weather can fluctuate. I do have family in Jacksonville, Florida, and they did let me know that the worst that happened to them was high winds, but it still is a little concerning that we can be in one area of the country and everything is just great, and another area, if you've got family members, you are worried about their safety. This is not the Weather Channel. Why did I go and talk about weather? Oh goodness. All right. So why did I start the story of the weather? Because I've been able to sit outside, sitting on my deck, knitting. You'll see when the project that I'm gonna put up on my Instagram, I was able to spend some time on my back deck knitting away at the end of September. Beautiful. What a beautiful gift to have this time of year. And yeah, so that's how I did this. It didn't take me long to do it because I do crochet relatively fast. So let me just put it on so we can see how it looks. I have mentioned that I like to use up all of the yarn. This was 2 balls that I had of this yarn. I like to use all of the yarn and consider that done. Worked with that yarn, I'm done. Do I like it, not like it? Is it worth getting it more? I think I'm okay with this yarn. I don't think I'm gonna be buying anymore. But I do have an F out, which, it does match my gray as well. Oh, I'm gonna have choices tonight on what to wear. We're gonna go out to Newport, Rhode Island for some drinks tonight, and it's by the water, so it'll be a little chilly, so this will be perfect. And this one has a little pizzazz because I wanted to use up all of the yarn. So it has a tassel. It's gonna tassel. And yeah, literally I used everything in order to have the tassel. So yeah, it does work out nicely with the gray as well. Oh, I'm feeling like I've really made some great choices with my yarn projects this time around. Yeah, so shall I keep it on? I'm gonna take it off because I don't want to take away from the beauty of the collar on this top. Yeah, so that is another finished object but crocheted. So let's talk about, and I think I'm going a little fast, and I hope it's not too fast. I just, sometimes I catch myself thinking, do I slow it down a little bit? Do I go? Because I have so much to talk about, and I just, you know, don't want to bore anyone, but I also don't want to lose anyone for how fast I'm talking. So let's talk about my knitted projects. I did a little reel on this, and it's on YouTube, and it's about the Purl hats that I've knit, Purl hats that I've made. And do I have, no, I didn't bring the pattern, but it is the slip Purl hat by Jackie Henderson. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. It popped up about a month ago. It was a free pattern. I looked at it, I thought, oh great, it's a pattern for bulky weight yarn for a quick gift hat. And as you know, I'm always looking for another hat idea for the craft shows that are about to start, the scholarship craft shows for my local high schools. And I wanted to have some options in hats if people wanted to make a purchase. And so here is my first slip Purl hat. Let's see if the color doesn't change a little bit because of the way. More gray tones. So this, I had a skein or a ball. This is Charisma, Loops and Thread Charisma yarn. I had one ball and with no project in mind, obviously, and it worked out beautifully. It's mostly, so it starts with a knit, it's a 1x1 rib, then it's a purl, and then these slip stitches that are knit. And because I want to use the yarn to the end, I use the rest for the pom-pom, which I hadn't made a pom-pom in the pom-pom maker in a long time. I think I did all right, even though I think it's sort of a little lopsided, but it works. It looks all right. It is beautiful on the outside as it is on the inside. If you flip the stitches, it's just as pretty too because of the knit. But since I put the pom-pom, I attach my pom-poms. I have these wooden buttons that I have someone at work make for me. We have a glow forge machine at the library, and whenever there's little scraps of wood from the projects that she burns, she keeps, and then she makes me these little buttons for me to use on my hats. And this way I'm able to attach it with just the yarn. If somebody afterwards, when they buy the hat, they decide they don't want the pom-pom, it's easily removable, it's not attached. So this was the first one. And then I remembered I had a basket. I'll put a picture on here because I'm pretty sure I took a picture of the basket of little odds and ends of this Charisma yarn. I had used this yarn to make some headbands several years ago, and I had this yarn. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I'd done some hats, but not enough of the yarn to make the full hat. So it all went in the basket because it was either going to be stuffing for something if I made pumpkins, or if I crocheted pumpkins. It would be stuffing for the crocheted pumpkins, not stuffing. Okay, just in case somebody out there isn't following me. When I say stuffing, I'm not talking about cooking stuffing. I don't do cooking stuffing, but stuffing for pumpkins. So I decided to just give it a try. So this is, here's another one where I had half and half of the yarn. I had the lighter, it's a gray, So it's not blowing out. It is a gray. And I had this blue. So I did the same thing. So what I did was I alternated one row of blue, one row of the gray, one row of blue, one row of the gray. As you can see, I didn't have enough of the gray to get to the top. So I just did it all in blue. And the pom-pom is completely all in blue. So that worked out nicely too. And these, they're very light but warm at the same time. These are gonna make great gift hats. Because why these are good, it's acrylic yarn, 100% acrylic. Why they're so great as gifts is because you never have to worry about somebody getting the hat and then if they throw it in the wash, you'll be fine. Or if they lose it, then you haven't really spent more on it than your time, because the Charisma yarn is less than $5 a ball. And I don't know if I want to try. Do I want to try? Nah, I'm not gonna mess up my hair. Sorry. On my Ravelry page, I've got pictures of it, and I've got a picture of me too on Instagram. Actually, it's this one on Instagram and on Ravelry. Again, so these I'm gonna go fast. So this color I had in the basket, some navy blue, some of this teal left over. So here's the navy blue and teal. I had enough of the navy with this royal blue. Same concept, right? Same little button. This, in this case, I used was an actual button. And then this was a different shade of blue. There's those two. I should be holding them up so I can put them all together at the end to show my little pile of hats. And here's, I love this one, the green with a beige. And for this one, I left it without the pom-pom because it just shows how I didn't have enough of the green, and I just left it like this. Somebody might want the hat just to be a beanie, or I may decide to put a faux fur pom-pom on top of this one. But the pattern knits up really, really fast. Highly recommend this pattern if you're looking for an easy hat pattern with bulky weight yarn. So would you count this as one finished item? Or, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and yeah, so these will be good. My first scholarship craft fair will be the week before Thanksgiving. I'm gonna find out what colors, this is already one of the colors from the schools, but there's another school that I'm going to. I gotta find out what colors they are and try to make some hats in the school colors, because I think these would be great for the sports nights at the schools. All right, back in the basket. All right, are we good? Are we still here? Am I losing you? Yeah, actually I should ask, do you make things for gifts, or do you make it just for you? I tend to do a lot of selfish knitting, I really do. But every once in a while I'll make something to gift, but it can't be that because somebody had, I can't make something if somebody asks me for it. True fact, if somebody says, oh, make me this, it's like, it reminds me of when I was in college and I had reading assignments and I was forced to read. For the same reason I can't do book clubs. Yeah, here's a little piece about me. So I'm a librarian. I don't like to do book recommendations, and I don't like to do book talks. It needs to come organically for me to talk about a book, and I need to read a book based on where I'm at that point. What's going to attract me? What's going to keep my mind on the storyline? Sometimes it might be a science fiction book. Sometimes it'll be a fantasy book. Sometimes it's a romance, sometimes it's a mystery book, and sometimes it might be something that has to do with history. And so I do have a very eclectic reading taste, but I don't like to recommend what I've read because what the story meant to me might not necessarily mean something to someone else. And so I always just say, well, you know, here's a display of some of the books that have been circulated. Well, choose from these. So anyway, gift knitting, or knitting because somebody asked me, is sort of the same idea. I prefer when somebody says to me, oh, that's so pretty, I love that. And then I may just make it and surprise them with it. I get a lot of return on doing that. Knowing that somebody first admired the piece and then I gift it, then I know that, all right, they'll wear it, because if they admired it on me, obviously they enjoyed it enough. So I do that. But I would say that's only about 10% of my knitting time. The rest is, I would say about 25% of my knitting crochet time is to make these items for the craft show season, which for me is end of October and in November, and then that's it. And those items are made because I know they're going to be fundraisers. Half of those items will be gifted to the school to put on the raffle table. If students come by and they admire and I see that they don't have the money, I just ask them to pick what they want out of the table. It's the same feeling I get from it than when I make something as a gift. I enjoy knowing that somebody enjoyed what they're seeing that I've got out on display. So there's a story about me. But I will say that if I was going to recommend a book, I may just end up putting something in the note fields at some point. So anyway, that's the story about the librarian who doesn't do book talks and doesn't do book recommendations and doesn't do book clubs. Yeah. Okay. So I think I have shown you everything that is finished for now. I do have to say that the last episode I talked about the 11 works in progress that I had shown in the recording that I thought I would take with me on vacation. I did edit that video from 20 minutes to 10, I think. I did eliminate a lot of the projects I showed because I didn't take them with me. And yeah, I haven't really touched any of them. I did find something else to work on though. And I'll tell you why I found something else to work on. So let me stop. I'm just looking at the door because I thought I heard little Gary at the door. Let me show you which one I wanted to talk a little bit about and why I sort of rushed through the makes. The one that I wanted to talk about is what I showed you that's in this bag, which is the Misurina by Caitlin Hunter. It hasn't seen any progress from what I showed you, even though I said that, yeah, I was gonna attempt to work on it while I was on vacation. So here's where it is. No progress. Last thing. I am using Knit Picks gloss in, I forgot the color, somewhere in here I've got a little, I do have a little band, Knit Picks gloss. It's Knit Picks gloss, it's Blackberry. And I am using this other yarn, which I don't think I've got this tag, which is Merino for us from Rosarios 4. The reason why it didn't see the light of day was because most of the knitting that I did while we were on vacation, I was doing from the backseat of the car, and talked about that in the last episode. And if you want to know what that was like, you have to watch the video of what it feels like to be in a car in the roads on the island. If your husband's driving and he thinks that he's a race car driver on a stick shift car. Let me just say that. Not a smooth ride. So I didn't work on it. And I'm glad I didn't, because it does take some concentration when you're doing color work, because you do have a chart to follow. And I'll just do a real quick peek of what the chart looks like. This chart. And moving the sticky tape, it just wasn't working. So I thought, all right, got this one done. I'm good. I'm going to start now. I can concentrate. I'm home. I'm ready to tackle this. This is going to be my next FO. Only problem was when I went to look at it, I realized that part of why, it is why I put it aside, because I couldn't remember which hand I was carrying the color in which hand I was carrying the solid. And from the little bit I know about color work, I know that you have to stay consistent. So when I went to go work on it the other day, I noticed, oh boy, and I said, nah, it can't be, because, you know, I am a process knitter. It's about the process and getting it done right than it is to end up with a project, although, you know, that is great if I end up with a project. I didn't carry the color correctly, and I'm trying to find what really. So here's an example. What happened. I didn't carry the color correctly. So if you can see, let me see it. You can see it on that one. In my braids, I can see the color poking out. And I thought, you know, once I wear it and block it, I'm going to be aware that I didn't, although now that I'm looking at it, it really isn't that bad. But the other day when I looked at it, I was like, oh, that is not good. That is not good at all. But there was one column that I thought was worse because it was right in the front. And of course, I'm not going to be able to find it now, right? You know, now it's not looking that bad. But at the time, I thought, oh gosh, you know, forget it. I threw it back in the bag, and I'm like, I have to decide if I'm just gonna go back, take it back to here, and start the color work over again, so that on the braid, I don't have, which it's a shame that now I can't find it, because now it's like, what are you talking about, Olivia? I mean, I see it. It's just hard to show it to you here. Let me see if I can. It's just like that popped out, and there's another one back here that pops out. So anyway, I just put it aside. I said, yeah, I can't. And I think because of the success of this one and how easy it was, and it was just this little bit of color work, I'm like, I can't. I don't know if I'm ready for this. So out in the bag it went until I decide if I'm going to take it back and start over again, or if I'm just going to ignore it and keep going. What would you do? Because now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it's really not as bad as I thought it was. It might be that when I wear it, it's just going to look like a fleck in the yarn. So that's where I'm at with this one. That's why I didn't touch it. I have to decide. So what I did was I sat through a couple more videos about color work. Did a few tutorials, and I'm like, all right, I got it now. I understand it. One hand, other hand. So let's try. Let's go for it. Let us work on a project that I had talked about, I think episode 2 or 3, which is the Alentejana sweater. It was designed by Filipa Neonoi, which is her name is Filipa Carneiro. She is Filipa Neonoi on Ravelry, and her designs, that's her designer's name. She is a designer for Rosários 4 yarn, the Portuguese yarn that you've heard me talk about. And I decided, okay, I think I get it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit down and get this. And boy, did I get it. I am using, I left the other skein downstairs, but I think you'll be able to see it. I am using the Pio Pardo yarn, which is similar to a Fita yarn, but this is 100% Portuguese wool. And it is the leftovers of the yarn spun into this DK weight yarn. DK Sport, it's a thick, thin yarn, so I would say it's Sport DK. And I am using Knit Picks DK Swish. This was a poll I had put on Ravelry if I should do it with the brown or the blue. The pattern that I had seen, they had used this yarn with a blue. It was Catarina of O Vão da Escada, which is a Portuguese podcast. She's Portuguese, but she lives in Norway. And she had made hers, and she had made hers with, actually I'll show you, because I've got it here for show and tell later. She had made hers with this yarn, which is what the pattern calls for. Romaria, which is a beautiful sapphire blue. And this was the color combination. I didn't have this yarn. I acquired this yarn when I went to the Knitting with Friends festival. It was gifted to me by Liliana, who works for Rosas Quatro. She had given me some sample. Little did she know that this was something that I had already on my radar. And I'll talk a little bit more about this because it has to do with where to find this yarn here in the US. And so here's my latest pride and joy. And it's working up so fast. I am feeling very confident now in my collar work. I am having success. I cast this on Wednesday night after I had blocked this one. And I was trying to decide, what do I do next? Do I cast on another of these? Because I am going to make another one. I've got the perfect yarn for this top, which is a DK wet yarn. She's a little heavier than the Remix Light, so it'll be good for fall and winter. It's going to be in later on when I talk about what I plan to make. So here it is. Ready? Here is my Alentejana, and the cables are, let me see if I can hold it up so I can really show it off, because it's not, oh, look at this. Let me see if I can move it like this. My cable's not long enough, but look at this. Look at how beautifully this color work. Oh, it's a little blown off, but look at that. I was just like, I'm doing it. It's coming out right. It's just like real color work. I am so proud of how it's coming out. So I am going to call this my Rhinebeck sweater. Yes, you heard me, Rhinebeck. I still wasn't sure if I wanted to go to Rhinebeck, but I think I want to go to Rhinebeck. I want people to ask me if they can spot me on the hill, because if the hill has got the leaves the way it's had the last few years, I may just blend in. It's going to be a spot Olivia. I might have to use a bright hat because, right? Isn't this the colors of what's on the hill with all the leaves? It's just, and I think I've got my Highland Cool stoppers on here. I think I might be able to do it. Let me give this a try. Shall we? Shall we? Yeah, it's not going to do much justice at this point, right? But look. Yeah, it doesn't do justice. Oh, so there you go. Yeah, I think if I do it this way, you can see it well. There's the pattern. So, yeah. I want to wear it, and I want to be asked, what are you wearing? So I can say what it is. The last few times that when I've gone, obviously the sweater that I wear, people will recognize it. So I've never been asked what I was wearing, other than the first year I was wearing, believe it or not, I was wearing a crochet top that I had made with acrylic yarn. And I was asked, oh, what is that yarn? It's so soft. Michael's? Or was it AC Moore at the time? So this would be my first official sweater with non-acrylic fibers. So what do you think? So I've got what, three weeks to Rhinebeck? Can I do it? I think so. I'm a great procrastinator, but I'm also very quick at meeting deadlines. When I have to, I focus, I get it done. So yeah, so here's my current favorite project to be working on. So what else? I think that's all I can say about this. So yeah, right. So I'm doing size It's a size 5, which is a free pattern on their site. I have to research. I believe you can download the other sizes. The reason why I chose the size 5 is I thought that it was my size. And at best, it's going to fit with a little bit of ease. At worst, it's going to have a lot of ease. But since I want to use it at Rhinebeck, depending on the weather, it'll serve as, like a jacket type of sweater that I can use over something else underneath. So there's that. How's that? Okay. I think I've done good here. Yeah, I've managed to get all of my what I brought with me to show you. So let's see what's going to be next. Do I talk to you about my future knitting plans or the new yarn that is about to be cataloged? Actually, the new yarn that is already cataloged because I've already put it on Ravelry, because some of the yarn is for a knit along that I'm going to be doing with a local yarn shop. Let me talk about the future plans first. So let's talk about the top that I wanted to make again. For this one, I want to use, so my next one is going, let's see how this color shows, because again, we'll see how the shade is. I have this yarn 316 DK. It's looking a little yellowy, a little green highlighter, I think, because of the color I have here, but you get the gist. Look at this color. It's not gray. It's not browns. It's a very bright green. I have absolutely nothing in my wardrobe in this shade, but this shade goes really, really well with black, and that's why I bought it, so I could wear it with black slacks or my black sleeveless dress. I picked this up last year from the dyer. Was about to pick up Off-White. She was at Wool and Folk last year, and I got talked into this color. We'll see. It's so out of my comfort zone. But I figured this top will be perfect because I can make the top in black. I don't have any black DK. I just had this mysterious yarn downstairs. So I'm thinking the black with this is going to work. So this is going to be my future cast on. And it will be a little romance, because I love this top. So here was my decision. Do I continue with the Alentejana and to blend into the hill at Rhinebeck? Or do I make this with this yarn, and then you could really, really spot me on the hill? We'll see how fast that one goes. So that's the future knitting project on that one. I talked about the Homeria that Liliana had given me at Knitting with Friends Festival. So I had this one ball, and I wanted to try to use it for something, and I thought this would be a good one to use with, pardon me as I reach again, to use with, let me put this here so it doesn't fall on the floor again, with the Piu Pardo that she also gifted me. Together, I thought of this for the Andrea Mowry Frame Your Face Cowl, because that was another idea I had. I would make it for Rhinebeck, because the sweater, I'm just not, it's not something that I'm interested in, but the cowl would be nice. My friend Manuela is making hers in black and in white, and it's coming out beautifully. So I thought of joining along with her and getting one done as well. So these are the colors that I was thinking might work so that I could use this yarn. But the other option that I have is I have another sheet. I also was gifted with this shade, and I have it picks Sport Weight Wool of the Andes in the color, let's see if I can tell the color. The color is Current, which is a favorite color of mine's too. It's more cranberry than what you're seeing there. So I thought this would be a nice cowl too. So because Liliana had given me these 2 samples, I thought, well, I need 2 of these I believe I need 2 of these for the cowl, because these are 50-gram skeins. What I did was I went online to see where I could find it here in the US, or I was going to reach out to my friend Manuela, who was in Oporto in Portugal, and see if she could send me some. I found a yarn shop in Kentucky. It might be Kentucky. I might be wrong, but I'll fix it here. What the yarn shop is? It is Woolly. Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the shop, but it has the word wool. Again, the database, it got filed away. It's gone. So I placed an order, and I'm getting a couple more skeins of each of these, and I am getting some more Homeria sent to me, so that if I decide to not use it for the cowl, Filipa just came out with a pattern for a shawl. It's Rosas. If you go on Ravelry, you'll see it. It's in this color. It's a beautiful crocheted shawl in the traditional crochet motifs of roses, something that would have been used for a bedspread or a tablecloth in fine thread in Portugal. And it has piqued my interest, so that's something that I might want to try to make with this yarn if I don't use it for the cowl. So those are my future knitting plans for those. Not to mention, I got to get back to the Misurina, plus the other 5 or 6 works in progress, including one that is my hydrangea top, which is a Samantha Garin top that I'm having a dilemma with. I'll probably talk about that one at the next episode, so that I don't keep showing you the same thing. I want to show you some of the other things that I've got in the works, and maybe one of you out there has had the similar situation and debating whether or not the yarn works for that project or not, and if I should start it over or not. But that'll be in the next episode. Is that enough of a teaser? I hope it'll be interest you enough that you want to stick along. I'm really enjoying doing this podcast. I enjoy it, as I mentioned before, because it is a way for me to record me talking about my love affair with yarn, the projects that I made, how they came to be, why I made them. These recordings have also now vlogged some of my family trip. I see this as something that will be available to my sons to show their children later on. I'm leaving my little mark here. It is something that it takes some courage to do, but once you start to do it, there is a lot of enjoyment, especially the connections that I've made with people and the friends that I've made through this channel. And because I watch so many podcasts and I have so many friends who don't know anything about me, and now through this channel, if they are at all curious about me, and when I make comments on their videos, if they come over to get to see who I am, they'll get to know a little bit about who the person commenting as Yarn Stories with Olivia on their channel is. I don't have a separate YouTube account. It's just this channel account. The other account I have that would have my name is tied to work, because we do upload videos from the library on that channel, and I don't want to comment when I'm on that channel because it is my work email, and I do try to keep it separate. So when I comment, it'll be commenting as Yarn Stories with Olivia. And Yarn Stories, as I said before, it's because there's always a story with all the yarn for me, and I do love to talk about my yarn. So I'm gonna, last piece I've got here is my recent yarn acquisition. Not last week, the week before. Yeah, was it the week? I've already lost track. Went to, maybe it might have been last weekend. No, it was 2 weekends ago. Went to Skein Yarn Shop in East Greenwich, Rhode Island, which I consider my local to me yarn shop, even though it's about a 45-minute ride into Rhode Island from Massachusetts, but it is definitely worth the ride. I absolutely love that shop. I love Lori and Justine and the vibe that they have in their shop and the people that go in there in it. And when I can, I do make the road trip. So 2 weekends ago, asking the guys from Needles at the Ready podcast, Kevin and Ray had a trunk show because Kevin is an indie dyer, and I have purchased some of his yarn via online. But this time it was an opportunity for me to squish all the goodness out of his yarn because he does have a new base. And so I made the trip for 2 reasons. I wanted to support the shop, and I wanted to support Kevin and Ray's business with their yarn. And the other reason was for the social part of it as well. What I didn't expect was that I was going to be talked into joining a knit along. Thank you, Justine, for coming right at me and convincing me that I should join the knit along. And the knit along will be a brioche project. I've never knit brioche. I'm barely getting by with color work. Why would I think I want to try brioche? I don't know. I don't know how successful I'm going to be at it. I don't know how good I'll be at this knit along. So the shawl that they have selected is all about the brioche. I can't remember the designer's name, but that's what we're going to be working on. So I picked up the yarn. So let me show you the yarn for that. And these are my color choices. Actually, one was my color choice. The other, Kevin said, that's what I would use. And if Kevin says that's what he will use, Olivia's going to use it because Kevin and Olivia have similar tastes in color and yarn. So here's my color choices. So this is Kevin's new base Athena sock, which is it's 85-15. So 85 superwash, extra fine merino, and 15% nylon. It's a 4-ply fingering weight. It's 437 yards. And this colorway is Shady Pines, and that's pretty, right there. There you go. That's the color, Shady Pines. And this color is Ravenswood. Look at that. That is, that's all me. A little hint of gray with some of the browns. So these two are going to be for the all about the brioche knit along with skein and Needles at the Ready. So we'll see when this gets cast on. Then of course, I just couldn't resist leaving this behind because who knows, I might want to do something different. I also picked up Ghost in Athena sock because it matches that as well. So I may decide to go the white with this blue instead of the Ravenwood. I was going to say Raven's Claw. Ravenwood. So here it is. But either way, I mean, this is still like gorgeous. And then, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Ready? Hi. So, just fixing it. Because I've decided that I really need to add more DK to my stash. I have a lot of fingering weight yarn. I wanted some DK. I picked up these two. Like Rhinebeck colors. Roasted Pumpkin and Fire Pit. So I thought these two in DK would be great for either a cowl, a shawl, or socks. My husband's now really into socks if they're in DK weight. So I could make them appear in this color with cuffs and toes in this color, or vice versa. We'll see. So these two. And because I just loved Fire Pit in DK, I had to get Fire Pit and sock. Because what will happen is when son number 2 sees dad's socks, he's going to want a pair of socks. and in the same color, but he prefers his socks and sock weight yarn. He doesn't like the DK socks because he wears them to work all the time with his shoes. My husband tends to like to wear his DK socks with his Crocs because he does work from home 4 days a week out of the 5 work days. And so he wears his Crocs when he's at work in the kitchen, at the kitchen counter. He doesn't have an office in the house, refuses to create an office in the house because they're going to call him back into the office one day. So he just sets up in the kitchen counter. So he sits up at the kitchen island wearing his Crocs, his shorts and t-shirt, and puts on a dress shirt when he has to be on a Zoom call. But always says that he may be wearing shorts, but his feet always feel wonderful in his DK hand knit socks. So anyway, these will be for the sun. And then, oh, I just had to do this too. I had to go and get this set in DK. Look, these colors are really, really pretty. This is also the Athena sock, color Winter Forest. These also make a nice pair of socks or a shawl. And for possibly another pair of socks for the husband. Achilles DK, fancy flannel. Yeah, fancy flannel. So we'll see which pairs of socks he gets. I do have to knit him a pair of socks for Christmas. Every year I do knit my son a pair of socks for Christmas. This year I'm going to have to do for the 2 of them. I did it last year. I managed to get the 2 pairs done in time. But I have not done much knitting on socks. I did a little bit just on the last episode while I was on vacation. I have not touched them because those are going to be big, big socks. So I haven't really touched those. So I got to get going because for my self-imposed 12 months of socks with a plan of knitting 1 pair of socks a month, pretty much ended in June. That was half a year. That's okay, right? I'm going to set another goal for next year. But I do have to get Christmas socks done. So here is all of my yarny goodness from, this looks better, right? Here's all my yarny goodness. And yeah, there shouldn't be any more yarn purchasing. There really shouldn't. There should be no need. If I do make it to Rhinebeck, it has to be just for the social element. It cannot be to buy any yarn. I did have this plan that if I do go, I am going to just look on Saturday and then purchase on Sunday if I definitely see something that I don't have, but I'm really going to try to control myself. So that's a wrap in terms of my projects, my future knitting plans, my recent yarn acquisition. I think this is about it. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're enjoying the surprise warm autumn weather if you're in the Northeast. For those of you in the South, I hope you're all safe and well. In the West Coast, I hope everybody is doing well as well. You know, we're such a big country. We've got people in the season. It could be different, all 4 seasons in one day throughout the U.S. For my friends overseas, I hope you're all well and being safe. I was so sad to hear of the fires in Portugal, particularly in the Porto area and the Aveiro area, which is where we were. It was devastating to see what was happening there in areas that we drove through, that we spent time in, and thankfully the fires are under control now. There's been some rain. It's starting to cool off, and everyone is safe. Unfortunately, there was loss of life, but from what I understand, it was 6 firefighters, which is very, very sad. They work so hard and diligently to put out these fires, and the casualties are heartbreaking. And yeah, I hope everyone is doing well and that everybody's enjoying their knitting time. And I thank you for spending this time with me. I really appreciate the time, your time that you're giving me here as I talk about my my knitting, my crochet, and my love affair with yarn. So yeah, no vacation plans, nothing other than now just spending quality time with my guys at home, prepping for these craft shows that are about to happen, and work, home life, squeezing in knitting time, and just enjoying the change of the season. This is one of my favorite time of year as the seasons start to change for us. So with all of that jibber jabber I just threw in here, so wishing you all a great change of seasons into autumn. For those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, great change of season into the summer. And so until next time, até a próxima. Muito obrigada. Thank you. Adeus. Goodbye.